Let me ask you something. How often do you feel stuck? Like no matter how hard you try, like keeps pushing back. You set goals, you make plans, but something always gets in the way. Frustration builds, and before you know it, you start thinking maybe this is just how it is. Maybe success isn't for me. Maybe I'm just not one of the lucky ones. But what if I told you that that's not the circumstance, not the setbacks, not even the failures that are holding you back? It's the way you see them. It's the story you tell yourself about them. One shift, one breakthrough could be the difference between feeling like a victim of life and becoming the master of it. Think about a rocket. When it launches, the hardest part is breaking free from gravity. It takes an enormous amount of fuel just to push past the atmosphere, but once it's out, momentum takes over. Effortless acceleration. That's what a mindset shift does. It pushes you past the mental resistance holding you down. And once you break through, everything changes. The power of a single mental breakthrough. History is filled with people who transformed their lives with one mental shift. Oprah Winfrey once believed she was just a poor girl from Mississippi, destined for struggle. Then she changed her perspective. She saw her struggles as fuel, not limitations. That shift led her from rejection and poverty to becoming one of the most influential figures in the world. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times trying to invent the light bulb. A failure? Not in his eyes. He famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That single shift in how he saw failure turned him into one of the greatest inventors in history. Now let's bring it back to you. What's the belief that's been holding you back? That you're not good enough. That you don't have what it takes, that it's too late for you. Here's the truth. The moment you decide to see yourself differently, your actions will follow. The moment you stop seeing obstacles as dead ends and start seeing them as detours to something greater, your life will begin to shift. One mental breakthrough, that's all it takes. And the best part, you control it. Not luck, not chance. So what's stopping you from making that shift right now? Look around you. Two people start in the same place with similar obstacles, and yet years later, one is sore while the other is still struggling, stuck in the same patterns, making the same excuses. Why? What separates those who rise from those who stay the same? It's easy to assume it's about opportunity. Intelligence is some kind of luck. But let me tell you something that's a lie. Because if that were true, every genius would be a billionaire. Every talented singer would be a global icon. And every hardworking person would be wealthy. But that's not the case, is it? There's a fundamental difference. And it has nothing to do with where you were born, what you were given, or even how much you know. The real difference lies within. Some people take control of their lives while others surrender to their circumstances. Some fight through obstacles while others use them as excuses. Some get back up after every failure while others let failure define them. And that choice, that internal decision makes all the difference. Debunking the myths is not intelligence, luck, or talent. Let me ask you something. How many people do you know who are smart, talented, and capable but are still struggling? How many people have you seen with natural gifts but no success to show for it? The world is filled with brilliant people who never achieve their dreams. Talented athletes who never make it to the top. Gifted artists who never share their work. Hardworking individuals who never get ahead. And on the flip side, we see high school dropouts running multi-million-dollar businesses. People who came from nothing, who weren't the smartest, the most gifted, or the luckiest, but they made it happen anyway. Why? Because intelligence, luck, and talent mean nothing without action, without resilience, without a mindset that refuses to quit. You see, luck is unreliable, talent fades without effort, and intelligence without execution is just wasted potential. It's not about what you have, it's about what you do with it. If one thing that separates those who rise from those stays stagnant, it's this mindset. The way you think determines the way you live. Your beliefs shape your actions, and your actions shape your results. A person with a growth mindset sees failure as a lesson. A person with a fixed mindset sees failure as the end. One pushes forward despite setbacks, the other gives up at the first sign of difficulty. Think of your mind like a thermostat. If you set it low, you will always live below your potential. If you set it high, you will push yourself beyond your limits. The problem is, most people set their internal thermostat based on their past, their fears, or what others have told them is possible. They let doubt, negativity control their vision. As a result, they stay exactly where they are. But those who rise, they break that pattern. They refuse to let fear dictate their future. They choose to believe in possibilities even when the odds are against them. They understand that success isn't about external conditions, it's about internal decisions. So ask yourself right now, what's my mindset? Am I making excuses or am I making progress? Am I letting my past control me or am I taking control of my future? Because the answer to that question will determine everything else in your life. Let me take you back to a moment when you might know too well. That moment when walls feel like they're closing in, when every door you knock on stays shut, when the weight of failure, doubt, and fear presses down so hard that you feel like you can't move. It's the moment you look at your life and wonder, is this it? Is this all there is for me? Maybe it was after a loss that shattered you. Maybe it was a series of failures that made you question your worth. Or maybe it was waking up every single day, going through the same motions, feeling like a prisoner in your own routine. Stuck, lost, powerless. And the worst part, felt life like there was no way out. Like already a decision and you were just along for the ride. I know that moment because I've lived it. And if you're there right now, I want you to hear me loud and clear. This moment is not your ending, it's your turning point, but only if you choose to fight. When you're trapped in that dark place, it feels like the universe itself is conspiring against you. Every step forward feels like a battle, and no matter how hard you push, life pushes back even harder. You try, you fail, you try again, you fail again, and slowly that little voice in your head starts whispering, maybe this is just the way things are. Maybe I'm not meant for more. Maybe I should just accept it. No. That's the lie that keeps people stuck forever. And the truth is that those who break free aren't the ones with the easiest path. They're the ones who refuse to accept defeat. The ones who get knocked down 100 times but rise 101. The ones who decide against all odds that they will not be defined by their circumstances. Think about the people who inspire you, the athletes, the entrepreneurs, the leaders, the survivors. Do you think life handed them an easy path? No, we're born into struggle, into pain, into obstacles that should have broken them. But instead of surrendering, they fought, they clawed their way out. And not because it was easy, but because they refused to let life tell them who they could or couldn't be. You are no different. Whatever is weighing you down, whatever feels immovable, I promise you this, it can be moved. But not by waiting, not by wishing, only by fighting. Let me tell you something that changed everything for me. The battle was never against my circumstances. It was against my own mind. I spent years believing that my struggles were the enemy, that my failures were proof I wasn't enough, that life was holding me back. But the truth, life wasn't my prison, I think it was. The way you think shapes the way you act. And the way you act shapes the life you build. If you believe you're powerless, you will act powerless. If you believe you're stuck, you will stop looking for a way out. If you believe you're not meant for more, you will never fight for more. But the exact moment you decide to shift your thinking, everything changes. This is not about false positivity. This is not about ignoring reality. This is about understanding that the story you tell yourself is the foundation of your life. And if you want to change your life, you have to change the story. So let me ask you right now, what are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself that you're not good enough, that you're far behind, that it's too late? Or are you telling yourself that you are stronger than your struggles? That every setback is just another setup for your comeback, and no matter how hard it gets, you will find a way. Because I promise you this, the moment you shift your thinking, the moment you stop waiting for life to change and start demanding more from yourself, you become unstoppable. Let me tell you something, most people go through life as if they're stuck in a storm, beaten down by their problems, convinced that life is happening to them, not for them. But what if I told you that the storm isn't the enemy? What if I told you that the storm is the very thing shaping you, forging you into something stronger? You see, the difference between those who thrive and those who stay stuck isn't their circumstances. It's not luck. It's not talent, it's how they think. The second you shift your mindset, the second you stop seeing problems as obstacles and start seeing them as training, your entire reality changes. Imagine two people facing the exact same challenge, losing a job, failing a test, going through heartbreak. One person crumbles, convinced that life is unfair. The other sees it as a lesson, a stepping stone, fuel for something greater. Same situation, different mindset, and that difference, that's everything. Your problems are not roadblocks. They are weights in the gym of life. You don't get stronger by avoiding the heavy ones, you get stronger by lifting them. The moment you embrace this truth, your struggles stop being burdens. They become tools. Once this clicks, once you understand that your struggles are actually shaping you, there's no going back. You can't unsee it. Suddenly every setback is a setup. Every failure is feedback. Every obstacle is an opportunity. Think about the most successful people in history. Do you think they avoided hardship? No, they faced it. They leaned into it. They used it. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before creating a global empire. What if they had seen their problems as signs to quit? What if they had given up? Now ask yourself, how many times have you let a problem stop you? How many times have you convinced yourself that life was against you? That you weren't good enough? That it wasn't meant to be? Enough, that ends today. From this moment forward, every challenge you face is an invitation to rise. Every setback is a test of your resilience. Every problem is proof that you're growing. The world isn't against you, it's shaping you. Now the question is, will you let your problems break you? Or will you let them build you? Choose wisely. Let me tell you something that most people don't want to admit. The life they're living is not the life they want. And deep down they know it, but instead of making a change, they settle. They accept mediocrity, convincing themselves that this is just how things are. They wake up, go through the motions, and convince themselves that someday, somehow things will magically get better. But that day never comes, not because they aren't capable, but because they refuse to take control. Most people aren't stuck because they lack talent or opportunity. They're stuck because they refuse to step outside of their comfort zone. They dream big but act small. They talk about success but never chase it. And here's the harsh reality. If you don't take charge of your life, someone else will. If you don't build your dream, you'll spend your life building someone else's. And one day you'll wake up wondering where all that time went, wishing you had done something different. So ask yourself right now, are you living the life you want? Or are you just existing? Every single person who has ever achieved greatness has faced frustration. They battled self-doubt. They stared fear in the face and felt its grip tighten around their throat. But the difference between them and everyone else, they refuse to let those feelings dictate their future. Frustration is a sign that you care, that you want more. But most people take frustration as a stop sign instead of to push harder. They get discouraged, throw up their hands, and walk away when things don't go smoothly. But let me tell you, frustration stops you. Then you never truly wanted it in the first place. And self-doubt. That voice in your head telling you you're not good enough, not smart enough, not ready. That voice is a liar. Because the truth is, no one feels ready at the start. Every champion, every game changer, every leader you admire once questioned themselves too. The difference, they kept going despite the doubt. There's fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of stepping into the unknown. Fear convinces you to stay where it's safe, where it's comfortable. But comfort is the enemy of progress. If you let fear make your decisions, you will never become the person you're meant to be. So here's the real question. Are you going to let fear and doubt control your life, or are you going to take back the power? What separates the ones who go after their dreams from the ones who watch from the sidelines? It's not luck. It's not intelligence. It's not even talent. It's a decision to commit, to push through the discomfort, to take risk when others hesitate. The ones who chase their dreams aren't fearless, they're just willing to act despite the fear. They understand that failure is part of the process, not the end of it. They know that success isn't a straight line, it's messy, painful, and unpredictable. But they do it anyway because they refuse to live a life of regret. On the other hand, the people who stay on the sidelines, they're the ones who always have an excuse. They tell themselves they'll start tomorrow. They wait for the perfect time, the perfect plan, the perfect opportunity. And while they wait, while it moves on without them. So I'll ask you again, are you going to be the one who takes the leap? Or the one who watches from a distance wishing they had? Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to one thing. You either go after the life you want, or you settle for the life you get. The choice is yours. Let me ask you a question, one that holds more power than you might realize. Do you believe you can grow? Because this single belief determines everything. It decides whether you stay where you are or rise to something greater. It dictates whether you see obstacles as walls or as ladders. It shapes your future before you even take the first step toward it. Think about it. The way you see yourself, whether you believe you can improve and get stronger, affects every choice you make. It controls how you handle failure, how you take criticism, and how you push through when things get tough. Two people face the same setback. One says, I knew it. I'm not good enough. The other says, this is tough, but I can figure it out. The difference. One believes in growth. The other believes in limits. So I'll ask you again, do you think you can grow? Because if you don't, you've already lost. But if you do, then you've just opened the door to everything you've ever wanted. Fixed mindset, fear-driven and challenge avoidant, and addicted to validation. A fixed mindset is a trap. It whispers in your ear that failure is proof you're not good enough. It tells you to avoid challenges because they might expose your weaknesses. It keeps you hungry for validation, praise, approval, recognition, because deep down you believe that your worth is tied to what others think of you. And here's the brutal truth: if you live for validation, you will die by rejection. If you avoid challenges, you will never know your true strength. And if you fear failure, you will never grow. Think about the people you admire, the ones who have achieved incredible things. Do you think they got there by playing it safe? By avoiding difficulty, by fearing failure? No, they faced rejection. They failed, they struggled. But they didn't see failure as proof of their limits. They saw it as part of the process. And yet so many people stay trapped in this mindset. They stay small because they're afraid of looking foolish. They stay quiet because they're afraid of saying the wrong thing. They stay in their comfort zones because stepping out means risking embarrassment. But here's the thing: your comfort zone is not your friend. It's a cage, and if you don't break free from it, you will never know what you're truly capable of. Growth mindset: failure is feedback, challenges fuel progress, and effort leads to mastery. Now, let's talk about the alternative, the mindset that will change everything. A growth mindset. A growth mindset doesn't fear failure, sees every setback as feedback. Every mistake is a lesson. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow stronger. It doesn't chase validation. It chases progress. People with a growth mindset don't avoid challenges, they seek them. They understand that effort is the path to mastery, and they welcome the struggle because they know what's on the other side of it. Think about a baby learning to walk. Do they give up after the first fall? The second? The 10th? No. They get up and try again? They don't think maybe walking isn't for me? They just keep going. And that's why they succeed. So why do adults forget this? Why do we hit obstacles and think maybe this isn't for me? Why do we let failure stop us instead of using it to move forward? Every skill, every strength, every success is built on effort. You don't get strong without lifting weights. You don't get smart without challenging your mind. You don't get successful without taking risks. You are not stuck where you are. You are not defined by what you can do today. You are defined by whether you're willing to grow tomorrow. The lens that changes everything, how shifting your perspective rewires your reality. Perspective is everything. The way you see the world dictates the way you experience it. The same storm that destroys one person strengthens another. The same obstacle that stops one person fuels another. The same failure that breaks one person teaches another. It all comes down to your lens. Let me give you an example. Two people lose their jobs. One thinks, I'm doomed, I'll never riff from this. The other thinks, this hard, but maybe it's an opportunity to build something better. Same situation, different outcome. Why? Because of perspective. Your thoughts shape your reality. If you see problems, you'll find problems. If you see possibilities, you'll find possibilities. If you believe the world is against you, you'll find proof that it is. But if you believe the world is full of opportunities, you'll start seeing them everywhere. Your mind is like a camera. You control the focus. If you zoom in on what's missing, what's wrong, what's unfair, you will always feel powerless. But if you shift the lens, if you focus on what you can do, what you can learn, what you can change, you will start to see doors where others see walls. Your circumstances do not define you. Your perspective does. And the moment you decide to shift your focus to see opportunities instead of obstacles, to see growth instead of failure, is the moment your life begins to change. Let me tell you something, your mind is either your greatest weapon or your biggest enemy. And the brutal truth, most people let their mindset control them instead of the other way around. Think about it. How often do you catch yourself thinking, I can't do this or I'll never be good enough? Those thoughts aren't just harmless little whispers in your head. They shape your actions, your decisions, your entire life. If you don't take charge of your mindset, it will dictate the way you live. It will keep you stuck in patterns of doubt, hesitation, and mediocrity. But here's the good news, mindset is a choice. And the moment you decide to take control of it, everything changes. Successful people aren't born with an unshakable mindset. They build it. They train their minds like a muscle, challenging negative thoughts, replacing them with stronger beliefs and pushing themselves beyond their comfort zones. And if they can do it, so can you. So ask yourself who's in control right now. You or the doubts running wild in your head? If you're tired of being a passenger in your own life, it's time to take the wheel. Fear of failure is the invisible chain that keeps you stuck. It whispers, what if you mess up? What if you embarrass yourself? What if you're not good enough? And because of that fear, you shrink, you hesitate. You stay in your comfort zone, convincing yourself that playing it safe is the smart choice. But let's be real, playing small is just another way of quitting before you even try. And here's the irony, failure isn't the thing holding you back, your fear of failure is. Every successful person you admire has failed repeatedly. They've fallen flat, made mistakes, been rejected. The difference, they didn't let failure define them, they used it as fuel. Michael Jordan, cut from his high school basketball team. Oprah, fired from her first TV job. JK, rolling, rejected by 12 publishers. Imagine if they had let failure stop them. Now imagine your own life 5 years from now. If you let fear win, where will you be? Stuck in the same place, regretting all the chances you didn't take. Or standing tall, knowing you faced fear head on and kept moving forward. Here's the truth, failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the price of admission. So stop settling. Stop waiting for the right moment, get out there, take risks, and give yourself permission to fail forward. Be honest how much of what you do is based on what others think. How often do you hold back, play it safe, or change your decisions because you're afraid of judgment? Seeking approval is a prison. And the more you rely on validation from others, the more power you give them over your life. Think about it, no matter what you do, someone will always have an opinion. If you chase your dreams, they'll say you're unrealistic. If you play it safe, they'll say you're not ambitious enough, you can't win. So why waste your life trying? The most successful, fulfilled people don't chase approval, they trust themselves. They know that no matter what others think, their dreams, goals, and choices are theirs alone. Here's a question for you. If nobody was watching, if nobody had an opinion, what would you do? What kind of life would you build? That's the life you should be chasing. Stop waiting for permission to be great. Stop letting fear of judgment keep you in a box. The only approval you need is your own. Let's get one thing straight, growth is uncomfortable. It's messy, it's painful. And that's exactly why most people avoid it. They want the results, but they don't want the process. They want strength without struggle, success without sacrifice, confidence without stepping into the unknown. But that's not how it works. Growth demands discomfort. It demands that you push past the easy, the familiar, the predictable. It asks you to do things you're not ready for, to face fears you'd rather ignore, to keep going even when every part of you wants to quit. Think of a muscle. If you never challenge it, it stays weak. But when you push it, when you tear it down through resistance, it grows back stronger. Your mind, your skills, your potential, they work the same way. So if you're avoiding discomfort, let me be clear, you're avoiding the very thing that will make you better. No exceptions. Embrace the struggle. Lean into the hard stuff. Because every time you do, you're leveling up in ways you can't even see yet. Look around at your life right now, your job, your relationships, your finances, your health, everything. It's all a mirror of your mindset. If you believe you're capable, you take action. If you believe you're stuck, you stay stuck. If you believe success is for other people but not for you, guess what? You'll prove yourself right. The way you think shapes your reality. That's not some fluffy self-help line. It's fact. The thoughts you feed yourself determine your habits, your confidence, your decisions. And those decisions shape your future. So if you don't like where you are right now, don't look outside for excuses. Look inside. What beliefs are holding you back? What stories are you telling yourself that are keeping you stuck? What mindset shifts do you need to make to start living at a higher level? The best part? You're not stuck with the mindset you have today. You can change it. You can rewire the way you think. But it starts with taking ownership. Stop blaming circumstances. Stop blaming luck. Stop waiting for things to change. Change your mindset and your results will follow. Because at the end of the day, your life is a reflection of the thoughts you allow to take root. So what are you planning? The most powerful mindset shift, moving from I can't to I can learn. Let me tell you something, the biggest barrier to success isn't talent. It isn't intelligence. It isn't even luck. It's the simple destructive belief that you can't. Think about it. How many times have you told yourself, I can't do this, I'm not good at that. This just isn't for me. Every time you say those words, you're locking a door that could have been open. You're choosing to stop before you even begin. But here's the truth. The people who succeed in life aren't the ones who had all the answers from the start. They're the ones who believe they could find them. Look at any great achiever, whether it's an athlete, an entrepreneur, an artist. None of them were born with mastery. Michael Jordan, cut from his high school basketball team. JK, rolling. Rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter saw the light of day. Elon Musk, he didn't start as a rocket scientist, he studied, he failed, he learned. The difference between them and the people who never make it isn't raw ability, it's the refusal to let I can't be the final word. The moment we shift from I can't to I can learn, You stop seeing obstacles as roadblocks and start seeing them as stepping stones. You stop fearing failure and start using it as fuel. You stop comparing yourself to those who are ahead of you and start realizing that they were once where you are now. Here's what you need to understand. Talent can be developed. Skills can be sharpened. Your knowledge can be acquired. The only thing standing in your way is your own willingness to grow. The people who get ahead in life aren't the ones who had it easy, they're the ones who made a decision. A decision to learn, to improve, to keep pushing even when it was hard. So the next time you catch yourself saying, I can't stop, rephrase it, say, I can learn. Because the moment you do, you take back your power. You open a door instead of locking it. And that one shift, that one simple change in mindset, it can change everything. Some people believe success is about having all the right answers. They think it's about being born with the perfect set of skills or the smartest mind in the room. But let me tell you the truth, success has nothing to do with what you already know. It has everything to do with how much you're willing to grow. The world doesn't reward perfection. It rewards progress. It rewards the people who refuse to stay the same, the ones who are willing to step into the unknown, embrace discomfort, and keep pushing even when they feel like they're in over their heads. Let's break it down. Think about the most successful people in any field. Do you think they got there by knowing everything from day one? No, they got there because they never stopped learning. They read, they practiced. They adapted, they fell down and got back up again and again and again. Success isn't about having all the answers, it's about being the person who's willing to go out and find them. Take a moment and ask yourself, when was the last time you pushed yourself beyond what was comfortable? When was the last time you actively sought out growth instead of waiting for it to come to you? Because if you're sitting around waiting for success to find you, let me be honest, it never will. Success isn't something you stumble upon. Something you build step by step, choice by choice. And the foundation of that success is not knowledge, it's the hunger to keep growing. So don't be the person who waits until they feel ready. Don't be the person who says, I'll start when I have more experience, when I have more knowledge, when I have more time. Because the truth is, you'll never feel fully ready. That's okay. The people who win in life are the ones who start before they're ready. They step forward before they have all the answers, and because they keep moving, because they keep growing, success eventually finds them. So here's your challenge: stop focusing on what you don't know. Start focusing on how much you're willing to grow. Because if you commit to growth, if you commit to learning, there is no limit to where you can go. Your brain is a muscle. The more you challenge it, the stronger it gets. Think about this: if you want stronger arms, you lift weights. If you want to run faster, you train harder. Your brain is no different. It adapts to the challenges you throw at it. But here's the problem: most people don't challenge their minds enough. They avoid discomfort, dodge difficulty, and settle into routine. And just like a muscle that's never used, their potential shrinks. Your brain is designed to grow, to learn, to adapt. But growth doesn't happen in comfort. It happens when you struggle, when you push past limits, when you dare to take on what seems impossible. Every challenge you face is a chance to make your mind sharper, stronger, more resilient. The question is, are you willing to put in the reps? The difference between those who rise and those who stuck. A simple belief: I can figure this out. There's a fundamental difference between people who break through barriers and those who stay trapped by them. It's not talent, it's not luck. It's a belief, one simple, unshakable thought: I can figure this out. When you hit a roadblock, what's your first response? Do you say, this is too hard? I don't know what to do. I guess this isn't for me. Or do you tell yourself, all right, this is tough, but there's a way through. I just have to find it. That mindset shift is everything. Look at the people who achieve incredible things. They weren't handed a manual. They weren't given all the answers. They started just like everyone else, confused, uncertain, struggling. The only difference, they refused to quit. They asked better questions, they looked for solutions, they stayed in the fight long enough to figure things out. Doubt kills more dreams than failure ever will. Because the moment you decide that you can't, you shut down every possibility of growth. But the moment you believe that you can figure it out, you unlock the ability to adapt, to learn, to improve. And that is the greatest skill you could ever have. Real world proofs, stories of people who overcame impossible odds just by believing in their ability to improve. Let me tell you about someone who refused to accept limits: Thomas Edison. Most people would have quit after 10, maybe 100. But Edison had a simple belief: every failure teaches me something. Every attempt brings me closer. That belief changed the world. Or look at someone like Oprah Winfrey. She was told she wasn't fit for television. She was fired, rejected, underestimated. But she didn't see failure as the end. She saw it as feedback. She kept improving it up. And she built an empire. Even in everyday life, you see this: a student who struggles in math but decides to study harder instead of saying, I'm just bad at numbers. An athlete who misses the game-winning shot but chooses to practice until they never miss again. A single parent juggling 2 jobs who doesn't know how to make ends meet but refuses to give up until they find a way. The lesson: your circumstances don't define you. Your mindset does. The people who succeed aren't always the smartest, the most talented, or the luckiest. They're the ones who refuse to quit. They're the ones who believe deep down, I can figure this out. And because they believe it, they do. Your mind is wired for efficiency. It wants the easiest route, the path that requires the least effort. And that's not a bad thing until it is. Because if you're not careful, that instinct for ease can become your greatest enemy. Every habit you build, every choice you make, every excuse you allow, it's all shaping the way your brain operates. So the question is, what are you training to do? Are you training it to give up at the first sign of resistance? To retreat when things get tough? To default to doubt and hesitation? Or are you training it to push through? To see challenges as opportunities, to fight for what you want, no matter how difficult the road may be? Because here's the truth: your brain will follow whatever path you set for it. And if you're not consciously building a mindset of strength, resilience, and discipline, you're unconsciously building one of weakness, avoidance. So surrender. So stop. Right now, take a hard look at the way you react to struggle, to failure, discomfort. That reaction is the blueprint of your future. The good news: you can change it. You can rewire your mind for success, but it takes intentional effort. It takes training. How many times a day do you tell yourself, I can't wake up early. I can't learn the skill. I can't handle this problem. And every time you say it, you reinforce the idea that it's true. But what if you stop? What if instead you caught yourself in that moment, paused, and reframed it? I can't becomes I haven't yet. I can't becomes I will figure this out. I can't becomes this is hard. But I am capable. Your words shape your beliefs shape your actions, and your actions shape your reality. If you want to change your life, start by changing your language. Most people spend their entire lives running from discomfort. They stay in their comfort zone because it's safe, predictable, easy. But nothing great has ever been built in a place of ease. Growth happens in the struggle. Strength is forged in resistance. So instead of avoiding challenges, start chasing them. Instead of backing down from hard things, lean into them. That fear you feel, that hesitation, that discomfort, it's not a stop sign. It's a signal. It's telling you that you are on the edge of something bigger, something better, something that will make you stronger. Think of it like working out. If you only lift weights that feel light, your muscles never grow. Your mind works the same way. If you only do what's easy, you never get better. So when you feel resistance, don't retreat. Push forward. Make discomfort your ally, not your enemy. Because on the other side of that discomfort is the person you are meant to become. Somewhere along the way, we were taught that failure is something to fear, something to be ashamed of. But that's a lie. Failure is not the opposite of success, it's the foundation of it. Every successful person you admire has failed more times than you can count. The difference: they didn't stop. They didn't let failure define them. They let it refine them. Every failure carries a lesson. Every mistake is a stepping stone. Every setback is a test to see how badly you want it. So if you failed, good. That means you tried. That means you're in the game. Now, get back up. Analyze what went wrong, adjust your strategy, and go again. Because the only real failure is giving up. And you're not here to quit, you're here to win. Your brain is always learning, always adapting, always following the patterns you set for it. So train it well. Train it to push forward, to embrace challenges, to see failure as fuel. Because when you do that, there is no limit to what you can become. Life doesn't hand out strength. Strength is earned. And it's earned in the moments when you stand face to face with a challenge and decide to take it on instead of turning away. Every obstacle, every setback, every struggle, it's a weight. Every gym to gym, you have two true hoisted. Lift two trones through. Think about the strongest people you know. The ones who seem unshakable, the ones who keep pushing forward no matter what life throws at them. Do you think they were born that way? No, they got that strength by lifting every single weight life put in front of them. They built it rep by rep, moment by moment. They didn't run when things got hard. They didn't look for an easy way out. They stayed, they struggled, and they grew. But what happens when you walk away? What happens when you refuse to lift a weight? You stay the same. You stay stuck. And worse, you get weaker. Because every time you avoid a challenge, you're reinforcing the habit of quitting. And quitting becomes easier every single time. You can't expect to be strong if you never lift anything heavy. Life is going to test you. It's going to put weights in your path: pain, failure, rejection, doubt. And the only way to grow is to lift them. Because on the other side of that struggle is strength you didn't even know you had. Strength isn't just about muscles. It's about mindset. And the stronger your mindset, the more weight you can handle in life. Look at the people who achieve great things. The ones who break records, build empires, or overcome impossible odds. Do they have easier lives than the rest of us? No. They just have stronger minds. They don't crumble under pressure. They don't let fear stop them. And because of that, they can take on bigger and bigger challenges. Picture a ladder. Every challenge you overcome is a rung that lifts you higher. The stronger you get, the more weight you can carry. At first, the small things feel overwhelming getting. Rejected, failing a test, dealing with criticism. But as your mindset strengthens, those things become light. And suddenly you're handling challenges that would have crushed you before. Think about a seasoned firefighter. When they enter a burning building, their heart doesn't race like it did on their first day. The heat doesn't scare them the same way. Why? Because they've built the mental strength to handle it. They've been through the fire before. They've trained their mind. You have to do the same. Train your mind. Push through the discomfort. Face the things that scare you. Because the stronger your mindset, the bigger the challenges you can take on and the greater your victories will be. Nobody wakes up mentally tough. Nobody's born with unshakable resilience. It's built. And it's built in the smallest moments, in the daily choices, in the decision to face what's in front of you instead of running from it. You don't need to be ready for every challenge in life right now. You just need to be ready for the next one. The one right in front of you, the one that's testing you today. Because if you can lift that weight, just that one, you're already getting stronger. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting for the fear to disappear. Stop waiting for motivation. You build resilience by doing, not by waiting. You lift the weight, you struggle, you grow. And then you do it again and again. And before you know it, you're standing taller, stronger, more unshakable than you ever thought possible. So ask yourself, what's the weight in front of you today? What challenge have you been avoiding? What's the one thing that if you faced it would make you stronger? Lift it, face it, grow. Because every challenge you overcome is making you unstoppable. The power of one word, yet. Let me tell you something, one small word has the power to transform everything. That word is yet. Think about it, can't do this yet. I'm not strong enough yet. I don't understand yet. That single word shifts your entire mindset. It turns a full stop into a comma, a dead end into a detour, and a failure into a stepping stone. Too often we label ourselves with finality. I'm not good at this, I always fail. I'm just not that type of person. But the truth, you're just not there yet. And that yet is your permission to keep going. It's proof that your current state is not your final destination. Successful people, the ones who break barriers and redefine limits, all embrace the power of yet. Michael Jordan didn't make his high school basketball team yet. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television yet. They didn't stop. They didn't accept failure as an identity. They kept going because they knew the difference between I can't and I can't yet. From self-doubt to self-belief, how language shapes your reality. Words are powerful. The way you speak to yourself is the foundation of what you believe you can achieve. If you constantly say, I'm not good enough, I never get things right, or always mess up, then guess what? That becomes your reality. Your brain listens to every word you say, every thought you repeat. It doesn't question whether it's true, it just absorbs and obeys. If you tell yourself you're a failure, your actions will align with that belief. If you tell yourself you're unstoppable, your actions will reflect that too. Now, imagine replacing self-doubt with self-belief. Instead of I always mess up, say I'm learning with every step. Instead of I'm not good at this, say I'm improving every day. Instead of this is impossible, say this will take effort, but I will figure it out. Language is not just communication, it's creation. It shapes the way you see yourself, the way you approach challenges, and ultimately the life you build. Speak power into your life. If you wouldn't say it to a close friend, don't say it to yourself. Because the way you talk to yourself determines the life you lead. Catch yourself in the act, identifying limiting thoughts in real time. It's one thing to understand that words shape your reality. It's another thing to catch yourself in the act. Because negative thoughts are sneaky. They creep in when you're tired, frustrated, or facing failure, and if you don't catch them, they take root. The key is awareness. The moment you hear yourself thinking, I can't do this, stop. Challenge it. Ask yourself, is this really true, or is this just fear talking? When you make a mistake, notice the first thing you say to yourself. Do you say, I'm so stupid or I'll never get this right? So pause, reframe it. I made a mistake, but I'm learning. Start treating your mind like a garden. Negative thoughts are weeds. If you let them grow unchecked, they take over. But if you catch them early and replace them with stronger, more empowering thoughts, you take control. You create a mindset that supports growth instead of one that stifles it. The difference between those who rise and those who stay stuck is simple: awareness and action. Those who succeed don't let limiting thoughts dictate their future. They catch them, challenge them, and rewrite the story. And you can too. If it feels uncomfortable, that's the signal you're growing. Let me tell you something, growth isn't supposed to feel good. It's not supposed to be easy. If it were, everyone would be doing it. But that discomfort you feel, that unease, that's not a sign to stop. That's a sign you're on the right track. Think about the first time you tried something new, riding a bike, speaking in front of a crowd, walking into a gym for the first time. It felt awkward, it felt uncertain. Maybe you wanted to back out, but you didn't. And because of that, you got better. You gained confidence, you grew. Discomfort is a teacher. It pushes you, stretches you, forces you to confront the parts of yourself that want to stay small. And here's the truth: most people run from discomfort. They avoid it. They let it dictate their choices. And in doing so, they stay stuck. They remain exactly where they are, never changing, never evolving. But you're different. You recognize that feeling uncomfortable is proof you're expanding. That the pain of growth is far less than the regret of staying the same. So the next time you feel that tension, that resistance, don't run from it. Lean into it. Embrace it, because on the other side of that discomfort is everything you've been working for. Why your comfort zone is your biggest prison and how to break free. Your comfort zone is a trap. It's a prison disguised as safety. It whispers lies to you: stay here. It's easier. It's familiar. Because of that, most people never leave. They sit in that small, predictable space, watching their potential die a slow death. Let's be clear, comfort isn't happiness, it's stagnation. It's settling. It's waking up every day knowing you could be doing more but choosing not to. And that feeling, that quiet frustration in the back of your mind, that's your potential screaming at you, begging you to break free. Look at anyone who's ever achieved anything great. They didn't do it by staying comfortable. They did it by stepping into the unknown, by risking failure, by embracing uncertainty. They did it by realizing that everything they wanted was just outside their comfort zone. So how do you break free? You start small. You do one thing every day that scares you. You stop waiting for the perfect moment, because it will never come. You take action before you feel ready. And when fear tries to pull you back, you remind yourself that fear is just excitement without breath. The choice is yours: stay in the prison of comfort, or break out and build the life you were meant to live. The small discomforts that lead to massive breakthroughs. People think change happens in one big moment. It doesn't. Change is built in small, uncomfortable decisions stacked on top of each other, day after day. It's choosing to wake up earlier even when your bed feels too good to leave. It's pushing through that last rep when your muscles scream for you to stop. It's having that tough conversation instead of avoiding it. It's saying yes to opportunities even when doubt creeps in. These moments may seem small, but they add up. They shape you. And before you know it, those tiny discomforts have transformed you into someone stronger, someone more capable, someone unstoppable. Look at any major success story and you'll see it wasn't built overnight. It was built in the moments when no one was watching. In the daily choices that seemed insignificant at the time but changed everything. So don't underestimate the power of those small decisions. They are the stepping stones to your breakthrough. Keep pushing, keep choosing the discomfort, because that's where the real growth happens. Stop comparing yourself to others. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday. Let me tell you something: comparison is a thief. It steals your joy, your confidence, and your focus. Every time you look at someone else's success, someone else's body, someone else's talent, you chip away at your own. And you know what? It's not fair. Not to them, and certainly not to you. You don't know their full story. You don't see the late nights, the failures, the self-doubt they've had to battle. You only see the highlight reel, the polished version they choose to show the world. Meanwhile, you're measuring your raw, unfiltered reality against their perfected image. That's not a fair fight. So let's flip the script. Instead of wasting energy comparing yourself to others, start comparing yourself to who you were yesterday. That's the only competition that matters. Did you push yourself a little harder today? Did you make a better choice? Did you take one step, just one, toward your goal? If you did, you're winning. If not, good. Now you know where to focus tomorrow. You don't need to be the best in the world. You just need to be better than you were the day before. That's how real change happens. That's how you build momentum. And that's how you become unstoppable. Perfection is a lie. A shiny, dangerous illusion that keeps people stuck, afraid to start, afraid to fail. You know what perfection really is? An excuse. A way that you justify hesitation. A reason to stay in the comfort zone. Think about it. How many dreams die because someone says, I'm not ready yet? How many goals get abandoned because the first attempt wasn't flawless? The world isn't waiting for you to be perfect. It's waiting for you to show up, to try, to learn, to grow. Success isn't about getting it right the first time. It's about getting a little less wrong each time. That's what progress is: messy, uncomfortable, and full of setbacks. But every mistake, every failure, every imperfect step forward is proof that you're in the game, that you're fighting, that you're moving. So stop aiming for perfection and start aiming for progress. Measure yourself by how far you've come, not by some impossible standard that doesn't exist. The only way to fail is to do nothing. The only way to lose is to quit. Most people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a year. They think big change happens overnight. That's why they give up too soon. But here's the truth: massive transformation is just small, consistent improvements stacked on top of each other. One better decision today, one extra rep at the gym, one healthier meal, one book instead of one more hour of mindless scrolling. Tiny things, easy to do, easy not to do. The difference: the ones who succeed don't wait for motivation. They don't chase quick fixes. They commit to small wins every single day. The small wins create habits, and habits shape your future. Imagine improving just 1% of it's nothing, right? Barely noticeable. But in a year, that 1% compounds. And suddenly you're not the same person you were. You're stronger, smarter, more disciplined. You've built something real, something that lasts. So forget the idea of overnight success. Focus on what you can do today. One step, one decision, one action. Keep stacking those small wins, because over time they add up to something unstoppable. For the next 30 days, commit to this. Let me tell you something: change doesn't happen by accident. It happens when you decide. It happens when you commit. And for the next 30 days, I want you to commit. Not to a vague wish, not to a half-hearted attempt, but to a challenge, a real, deliberate challenge that will push you beyond your limits and reshape the way you think, act, and live. 30 days, that's it. 1 month, it's not a lifetime, but it's enough to create a shift. It's enough to rewire old habits, to lay the foundation for a stronger, sharper, more unstoppable version of you. But commitment isn't just a word. It's action, it's sacrifice. It's a decision you make every single day. So here's what I want you to do. 3 things, just 3, but do them relentlessly. And watch what happens. Do one thing every day that challenges you. Comfort is a slow death. It's the enemy of progress, the silent killer of potential. The people who achieve the extraordinary are not the ones who stay where it's safe. They are the ones who step into discomfort, who seek it out, who embrace it, who learn to thrive in it. For the next 30 days, I want you to find something every single day that makes you uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be massive. It could be speaking up when you usually stay quiet. It could be waking up an hour earlier to work on your goals. It could be pushing yourself harder at the gym, reading a book instead of scrolling on your phone, or having that difficult conversation you've been avoiding. Because every time you do something that scares you, something that challenges you, you grow. You build resilience, you build confidence, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your doubts, tougher than your fears. And that right there is how you start becoming unstoppable. Reframe every negative thought the moment it appears. Your mind is a battlefield. Every single day, a war is being waged between the thoughts that push you forward and the thoughts that hold you back. And if you don't control your mind, it will control you. How many times have you told yourself, I'm not good enough, I always mess up, or I'll never change? That kind of thinking is poison. It's the chain around your neck, the weight that keeps you from rising. But here's the truth, your thoughts are not facts, they are stories. And you have the power to rewrite them. So for the next 30 days, every time it creeps in, stop it, flip it, reframe it. I can't do this because I'm still learning, but I'll figure it out. Why I always fail becomes every setback is teaching me something. I'm not strong enough becomes I am stronger than I was yesterday. Do this consistently and watch how your mindset shifts. Watch how the voice in your head becomes your greatest ally instead of your worst enemy. Because the way you speak to yourself determines everything, your confidence, your actions, your future. Change your words and you change your world. Write down one lesson from every failure. Turn setbacks into stepping stones. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. It is the training ground, the testing phase, the forge where the minds and spirits are made. But only if you use it. Most people run from failure. They let it define them, defeat them, break them. Not you. Not anymore. For the next 30 days, every time you fail, every time you fall short, I want you to grab a pen and write down one lesson from it. Just one. Maybe you learned that procrastination cost you an opportunity. Maybe you realized that fear held you back from taking action. Maybe you saw that your lack of preparation was the reason you did succeed. Whatever it is, own it. Learn from it. Apply it. Because if you do, failure stops fail a stepping stone, a map, a guide leading you to where you need to go. The power of consistency, why 30 days can reshape your thinking forever. Let me be clear, this isn't about trying something for a few days and hoping for the best. This is about consistency, discipline, the daily relentless repetition of small actions that create massive results over time. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they lack consistency. They start strong. But motivation fades, they quit. But if you can push through, if you can commit to showing up every single day for the next 30 days, something incredible happens. Your mind changes, your habits shift. You stop waiting for motivation and start relying on discipline. And discipline is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. 30 days, that's all I'm asking. 30 days of showing up, 30 days of pushing past comfort, 30 days of rewriting the way you think and act. Do this and I promise you at the end of these 30 days, you won't even recognize the person who started this journey. You'll be stronger, sharper, more resilient. And that is the beginning of something unstoppable. So are you ready? Because your next 30 days start now. Let me tell you something about human nature. Most people crave change, they dream about it, they talk about it, but when the moment comes to act, they freeze. They hesitate. And then nothing happens. They're exactly where they are. That's the painful reality. You can hear the most powerful, life-changing advice and still walk away unchanged. Why? Because knowing what to do and actually doing it are two different things. Let's be honest, how many times have you told yourself, tomorrow I'll start? How many times have you promised yourself that next week, next month, next year, things will be different? But here's the hard truth. Most people will listen to something that could transform their lives and do absolutely nothing with it. Because change is uncomfortable. It demands sacrifice. It demands discipline. And that's why most people stay stuck, not because they lack knowledge, but because they lack action. So I'm asking you, will you be like most people? Or will you be the exception? A year from now, where will you be? The silent price of inaction. Let's fast forward 1 year from today. Picture your life exactly as right now. Same problems, same struggles, same excuses. How does that feel? Now ask yourself, what could have been different? What could you have built, achieved, or improved if you had started today? See, time is always moving. Whether you take action or not, the clock keeps ticking. And the truth is, you don't stay the same, you either get better or you get worse. A year can bring massive transformation, or it can bring another 12 months of regret. The difference, your choices, because here's what most people don't realize, inaction has a cost. Staying the same has a price. And it's far more expensive than the effort it takes to change. Missed opportunities, what's the potential? The slow, quiet erosion of confidence, that's the price of standing still. And you don't even realize you're paying until it's too late. So the question is, a year from now, will you look back and be proud? Or will you look back and wish you had started today? People are terrified of failure. They let that fear keep them in their comfort zones, playing it safe, doing only what feels familiar. But let me tell you something, you should be far more afraid of staying the same than of failing. Failure means you tried. Failure means you learned. Failure means you're growing, evolving. But staying the same, that's a slow death. It's watching opportunities slip through your fingers. It's waking up years from now and realizing you never even tried. No one looks back at their life and regrets the risks they took, the lessons they learned, or the times they failed. They regret the chances they never took, the dreams they let die, the potential they wasted. So stop fearing failure. Start fearing stagnation, because if you don't take control of your life, one day you'll wake up and realize that life controlled you. And when that moment comes, regret won't knock on your door loudly. It will creep in slowly, in the form of what if, in the form of if only I had, and by then it's too late. So I'll ask you again, will you be like most people? Or will you be the exception? Because the choice is yours. A year from now, you will look in the mirror and meet one of two people. One will stand taller, eyes sharper, filled with confidence and purpose. The other, tired, unchanged, disappointed. One will have faced challenges head on, refusing to stay stagnant. The other will have made excuses, waiting for the right time that never came. Let me tell you something, growth isn't automatic. Change doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of decisions, daily, small, seemingly insignificant decisions that over time build the person you become. Right now you are making that choice. Right now you are setting the foundation for who you will be 1 year from today. You see, time moves forward no matter what. You don't get to press pause on life, but you do get to choose how you use that time. You can wake up each day determined to be better than yesterday, or you can let another day slip by, telling yourself you'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow turns into next week turns into next year, and before you know it, you're standing in the same place wondering where all the time went. The difference between the person who grows and the person who stays the same: action. One takes it, the other hesitates. One fights through discomfort, the other avoids it. One understands that failure is just a stepping stone. The other lets fear hold him back. So let me ask you, which version of yourself do you want to meet a year from now? The one who pushed through? The one who got stronger, wiser, more capable? Or the one who looks back with regret, knowing they could have done more? That choice is in your hands, starting now. Most people believe that change has to be big. They think they need a dramatic overhaul, a complete reinvention. If that feels overwhelming, they don't start at all. But here's the truth: real transformation happens in the smallest moments. It's not about making one grand move, it's about the daily choices you make, the tiny shifts that compound over time. Think of a plane taking off. If the pilot adjusts the course by just 1 degree, the difference seems insignificant at first. But over time, that tiny shift changes the entire destination. That's how change works. It's not the single workout that gets you in shape, it's showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it. It's not reading one book that makes you wise, it's the habit of learning that reshapes your mind over months and years. Let me give you a real example. A person who drinks 1 extra soda a day might not notice much difference in a week. But over a year, that adds up to dozens of pounds gained. Now, reverse that. Someone who replaces that soda with water doesn't see an instant change. But give it time and their body starts transforming. The principle is simple: small actions repeated consistently create massive results. This is why most people fail. They expect immediate gratification. They do something good for a day or two, don't see instant results, and give up. But success isn't a one-time event, it's a process. It's what you do every single day that determines where you end up. You don't climb a mountain in one leap. You take step after step. And if you keep moving, no matter how small the steps, you eventually reach the peak. The same goes for your goals, your habits, and your life. So ask yourself, what's one small shift you can make today? Not next week, not when you feel ready. Today. Because in a year, that one small shift could change everything. There comes a moment in life when you have to make a decision. Are you going to accept things as they are? Or are you going to fight for something greater? The person who refuses to settle is the person who rewrites their own story. They are the ones who refuse to be defined by their past, their failures, or their circumstances. They don't accept mediocrity. They don't accept good enough. They demand more from life, from themselves, from the world around them. But refusing to settle isn't easy. It means stepping into the unknown. It means being uncomfortable. It means facing rejection, failure, and doubt. And most people won't. Because let's be real, most people settle. They take the easy road. They convince themselves that where they are is fine. But deep down, they know they were meant for more. They just didn't have the courage to go after it. Look at history. The greatest leaders, the most successful individuals, the game changers of the world, they all had one thing in common. They refused to accept limitations. They refused to settle. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before he created the light bulb. If he had settled for failure, we'd still be sitting in the dark. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television. If she had settled for that, she would have never built an empire. And then there's you. Right now, in this moment, you have two choices: accept where you are or demand more. Stay comfortable or chase something greater. Let life happen to you or take control and make it happen. Who do you become when you refuse to settle? You become unstoppable. You become the person who proves everyone wrong, including your own doubts. You become the version of yourself you were always meant to be. But it starts with one decision. Right now. No more excuses. No more waiting. No more settling for less than you deserve. What are you going to do? Change is a decision, your decision. Let me tell you something. The moment you decide to change is the moment your life starts shifting. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Right now, change doesn't wait for permission, and it doesn't come knocking on your door with an invitation. It's a choice you have to make, a switch you have to flip. Think about it. Every breakthrough, of every transformation, every success story starts with a decision. Not with luck, not with perfect timing, but with someone standing at a crossroads and saying, enough is enough. Someone deciding that where they are is not where they're going to stay. Maybe you're stuck in the same cycle, waking up, going through the motions, feeling uninspired, telling yourself you'll do better someday. But let me ask you this: how many somedays have passed already? How many times have you told yourself you'll start when things are easier, when you feel more ready? The truth is, there is no perfect time. There is only now. Change is uncomfortable. It's scary. But staying the same, that's a slow death. So what's it going to be? Are you going to keep watching your life from the sidelines, or are you going to step onto the field because make no mistake, change is your decision, and no one can make it for you. Your mindset is the foundation of everything. Rebuild it, reshape your life. What's stopping you from making that decision? It's not your circumstance, it's not your past. It's not even your abilities. It's your mindset. Your mindset is the foundation of your life. If it's weak, everything built on it will crumble. If it's filled with doubt, fear, and excuses, you'll never see the results you want. But if you rebuild it, if you rewire the way you think, the way you see challenges, the way you talk to yourself, everything changes. Look at the most successful people in the world. They weren't born with an unshakable mindset. They built it. They trained themselves to see obstacles as opportunities. They conditioned themselves to push through failure instead of running from it. And that's what you need to do. Start by paying attention to your thoughts. What do you tell yourself every day? You say, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, I'll probably fail. Because that's your inner dialogue. Guess what? That's your reality. Words are seeds. What you plant in your mind is what you'll harvest in your life. You have to take control of your mental environment. Cut out the negativity. Challenge the doubts. Replace them with thoughts that push you forward instead of pulling you down. Train your mind like you would train a muscle. Because when you strengthen your mindset, you strengthen your ability to reshape your entire life. Now comes the hard part. You've made the decision. You started reshaping your mindset. But are you ready for the challenge? Because make no mistake, this won't be easy. This is the point where most people quit. They get excited about change. They feel motivated for a few days, and then life happens. They hit resistance. They get tired. They slip back into old habits. And that's where they stop. But you're different. You have a choice: step up or stay the same. Push forward or stay stuck. Your future is waiting. Don't wait forever. Every day you hesitate is a day you could have been moving forward. So what's it going to be? Will you keep making excuses, or will you take control? Will you let fear hold you back, or will you fight through it? Your future is not determined by your past. It's not determined by your circumstances. It's determined by what you do right now. Step up. Take the challenge, because the life you want, it's on the other side of the work you're avoiding. And the only way to get there is to start. Let me tell you something: your life can change in an instant. Not through luck, not through chance, but through one decision, one choice, one moment where you say, enough. We've all seen it, someone who's seen stuck, drowning in their own excuses, held back by fear. And then something shifts, they wake up, they step up, they take control, and suddenly they're unstoppable. Think about it. Every success story you admire began with a person who was exactly where you are right now, frustrated, uncertain, maybe even broken. But they made a decision not to wait, not to wish, but to act. That's the moment everything changed. Because transformation isn't about waiting for the right time, it's about creating it. Let's talk about the moment everything shifts, that split-second realization that the way things were is not the way they have to be. There's a story I want you to hear. A man who worked a dead-end job for years, barely making ends meet, feeling like he had no way out. He blamed his circumstances, his past, his luck. And then one day he saw something, an old friend, someone from the same neighborhood, same struggles, now thriving. That moment hit him like a freight train, because he had two choices: stay bitter or get better. He chose better. He studied, he sacrificed, he worked harder than he ever had before. And today, that man owns a business, helps others rise, and lives a life he once thought was impossible. What changed? His mindset, his belief that he was in control, that something happened for you. The moment you stop waiting for permission, the moment you stop making excuses, that's when your turning point begins. So let's get real. If they did it, why not you? They weren't born with more talent. They weren't given a special advantage. They had struggles just like you, but they made a choice. What's stopping you from making that choice today? Fear? Doubt? The comfort of the familiar? Let me tell you something, your fears are just stories you keep telling yourself. And the only way to rewrite that story is to take action. Every single person who has ever achieved something great had a moment where they questioned themselves, where they felt like quitting, but they pushed through. And that's what separates those who dream from those who do. This is your time, your turning point, your transformation. But it won't happen until you decide, until you commit, until you say, why not me? Because the truth is you are capable of more than you can even imagine. And the only thing standing in your way is the decision you make right now. Success isn't for the lucky, it's for the committed. Let me tell you something, success doesn't belong to the lucky. It belongs to those who refuse to quit. It belongs to the people who wake up every single day and make a choice to push forward, to fight for their dreams, to demand more from themselves. Luck, that's just an excuse people use when they don't want to acknowledge the work behind the results. Every champion, every game changer, every person you admire wasn't just lucky, they showed up when they didn't feel like it. They kept going when no one was watching. They did the work that others avoided. That's what separates those who win from those who wish. You want success, then stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop hoping for an easy road. Success isn't handed out, it's earned. And the price? Discipline, sacrifice, commitment. The question isn't whether or not you have what it takes. The real question is, are you willing to do what it takes? Because if you aren't committed, you're just interested, and interested people quit when it gets hard. Committed people find a way, no matter what. Change starts in the mind, your future begins with your next choice. Listen carefully, every change, every breakthrough, every transformation begins in one place, your mind. Your thoughts are the architects of your reality. What you think, you become. What you focus on, you create. Some people are trapped, not by their circumstances, but by their mindset. They say, I can't. They say, it's too late. They say, I'm not lucky. And guess what? They prove themselves right every single time. Because when you believe in your limitations, you strengthen them. But the ones who win, they don't wait for confidence, they build it. They don't wait for motivation, they generate it. They don't let fear dictate their future, they let action override their fear. It all starts with one decision, one single choice. Right now, in this moment, you have the power to decide what comes next. Will you keep making excuses, or will you make a move? Will you stay the same, or will you step up? Because your future isn't determined by fate. It's determined by what you do next. And what you do next is entirely up to you. Here's the truth, there's no magic coming to save you. No one is going to hand you your dreams. No one is going to force you to grow. That's on you. And this is the moment where you decide, do you step up or do you stay the same? Because the path forward is simple. If you want more, you have to become more. If you want a different life, you have to make different choices. If you want success, you have to show up for it again and again and again. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be comfortable. But that's the cost of transformation. Growth is painful. Change is uncomfortable. But you know what's worse? Staying the same. Looking back in a year and realizing you let fear, doubt, and laziness steal your potential. So here's your final challenge. Are you going to stay stuck in the same patterns, the same excuses, the same cycle? Or are you going to break through? Are you going to step up, commit, and take control of your future? No more waiting. No more hesitation. Step up or stay the same. The choice is yours.